everybody, and welcome to The Stack, Magic the Gathering edition. I'm Amy, the Amazonian, and this week I'm joined by the Magic streamer, DemonicTutors. You may know him as also my cousin Ed. Hi, Ed. How you going? Are you ready to play The Stack? The rules are simple. I'm going to present you with a series of statements about Magic the Gathering, and you'll decide if these statements resolve, meaning you agree with them, or they fizzle, meaning you don't agree. Are you ready to play?
I'm ready. I'm gonna mess that up, but I'm ready.
If you just say I agree or don't agree, that's fine too. Let's go. Delver of Secrets is an overrated card.
It fizzles. I don't agree with that at all. I've been playing Delver for 10 years, and it's broken. It's very powerful. It took a backseat recently to the Ledger Shredder, DRC Ragavan nonsense that came out of Modern Horizons 2. It's been a major player in Legacy. It's been the best thing to do in Legacy. It really, it's like you win the game by playing your Delver on one, and then you protect it. And that's kind of been this Legacy strategy. And it kind of isn't very good in other formats.
It's a 1-mana 3/2 flyer. Yeah. That's pretty good. The Modern Horizon sets are good for Modern.
Oh, fizzle. As hard a fizzle as you can get. These sets are awful. The strength of Modern and Legacy was that, like, you could have a deck, like, let's say Merfolk. And the Merfolk deck will you just have your deck and you could just play it every once in a while. Every once in a while a new card will come out and you'd be like, oh, I gotta pick this up, blah, 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 blah. But essentially what Modern Horizons 2 did, and Modern Horizons 1 with Hogak, is they just drop an atomic bomb on that whole system of you have this stability of like, oh, well, I have my Merfolk deck, and I love my Merfolk deck. And now Merfolk's gone. Human's gone, like, Storm gone. All these decks, all these archetypes just become instantly obsolete. Essentially, Wizards found a way to, like, monetize these formats that they weren't really reaching. So they turned them into these semi-rotating formats, and it's just miserable. Because people joke now, it's like, well, we're going to wait for the next rotation when Modern Horizons 3 comes out.
It used to be you could learn Modern, you could learn it once, and you would have learned it for the next year. Yeah. Now you got to learn it every time they release one of these sets.
It just completely just drops an atomic bomb on the meta, and you're just forced to spend all this money on these mythics and this new set, or you're just going to get demolished.
Modern is the best format for competitive Magic the Gathering.
It resolves. I kind of agree with that. Like, the further back you go, when you go into like Vintage and like EDH and Legacy, where like pretty much, or competitive CEDH, when everything's legal, you have a lot of non-games where your opponent just goes, oh, Lotus, Soul Ring, Tinker, Time Walk, and you're just like, shit, I don't have a Force Will. And the same thing in Legacy, where like you'll have games where you'll just turn one, your opponent plays a Grizzlebrand, you're just like, this is fun. And Modern has sort of the right stage of interaction. And then when you go into Pioneer, you're like, the more recent you go, the more kind of beholden to your top decks you are. You know what I mean? Like, if you draw too many lands, that's it, you're done. And Pioneer's like, if you don't draw the right answer to whatever turn 4, turn 5 combo deck, you're just dead. Like, if you don't stop Green Devotions, whatever, you're just dead. There's a lot of, like, you don't really get to interact in Pioneer. And Standard is, what 10 cards are the best and how can we break them over and over and over. And I think Modern's, like, in that sweet spot right in the middle where it's, like, it's not too degenerate and it's not too, two ships passing in the night. There's some interaction. There's some amount of play.
Modern should have its ban list redone.
I've played against most of the cards on the banned list, and they can stay there. They're pretty miserable. I mean, you can make arguments for unbanning Twin. It's not any worse than like Conspicuous Snoop or any of this stuff, but like there should be cards added to it. Like some of these Modern Horizons 2 cards and Modern Horizons 1, like Ranon 6, Ragavan is so format warping. If you don't have an answer to Ragavan, you're dead. It forces you.
I love a good turn 1 Ragavan though.
I know it's a sore subject because he's your
He's
baby,
my beautiful monkey son.
But he is just the worst. I played a prelim today earlier, and I had the audacity to try and play a deck without answers to Ragavan, and I just got demolished by Ragavan.
No fatal pushes, no nothing? That was a mistake.
Mono blue mill, and I got milled out by my own Ragavan. Or by my own mill spells from a stolen Ragavan. So I would be happy to see Ragavan go. I would be very happy, because Ragavan like warps the entire format. And I'd be happy to see Run and 6 go, because that card is so egregious.
It's really good. I'd also like to see it banned so I can get a cheaper copy for Commander.
Huh.
It's been banned once. Come on. I just need more bans. Ban it everywhere except for Commander so I can get a copy.
Well, they just reprinted it, so slow down on the bans. It's, maybe when that's out of print run, you got a chance.
That's true. Commander cards should not be legal in Legacy.
It resolves. I totally agree. These cards have been a train wreck. They're train wrecks in like every format that they touch. Not just Legacy, but Pauper. Like the Monarch is such a miserable mechanic. It just snowballs the game. If you miss like the one turn little window, they're just like, oh look, I have a Haligmind and I get to draw these cards, and you just can't touch me again because I have this. All of these like multiplayer cards, like they just printed one called Maddening Hex, which like in a Commander game is like cool. It bounces whenever you cast a spell, you take D6 damage, and then it bounces from player to player, which is like really cool in like a 40 life multiplayer format. But then when you're in Heads Up Commander and they just put it on you, and now it's like, oh, so every spell I cast, I take D6 damage.
And you only have a little bit of life to spare.
Yeah, like I know someone who cast 2 spells and then was bolted twice and then died. Like luckily that card's not on Magic Online, so I don't have to deal with it. But Hull Breacher has been egregious. True Name Nemesis warped the format for years and years and years. Like all of these cards that are Commander legal are just complete. They just don't test them.
Magic Online is a better platform than Magic Arena for tournaments.
Well, I'm going to be as biased as could be, so this resolves. It's just so much better. I was reading a tweet the other day about a guy who went 6-0 in a
get a final opponent.
Yeah, and couldn't find an opponent for 2 hours. Like, are you kidding me? Like, Magic Online is very close to actual paper Magic, where like they run tournaments all the time.
The rounds start. If you don't show up for your round, you get a loss.
Yeah, it's the closest thing to real Magic. It's like a basic chess set. I know I've used this analogy a lot, but it's like a basic chess set. And if you're not in your seat, sucks. Sorry, it's just like a regular tournament. And I've played in 500 person tournaments online. The infrastructure is there. Everything is there. They just put all their attention and their spotlight on you arena kids.
That actually brings up the next one very well, which is Wizards of the Coast should host more major tournaments in Magic Online. Right now, it's pretty much just the mocks.
It resolves. Yes, they should. They're dumb. Like I said, it's the Eye of Sauron, where it's just pointed directly at Arena, and they just don't put any effort in on Magic Online. And Magic Online still is thriving, and there's still active tournaments, and there's competitive tournaments, and it's like where you have to go if you want to play these great competitive formats, but they just like completely ignore it. And it's kind of sucks because they have the platform, they have everything to run massive tournaments where, people who are, afraid of COVID or don't want to travel or can't afford a no expense paid trip to Atlanta, the infrastructure exists, everything exists. They just choose not to take advantage of it. And it's very disappointing as someone who doesn't want to travel, can't, the infrastructure exists. And if they were to put any amount of effort into that.
Yeah, a little bit of polish.
Yeah.
Improve the UI, get more people playing. But there's another problem I'm going to bring up next with Magic Online. It's that sometimes you just can't get cards. So here's the next statement. Wizards needs to incentivize drafting on Magic Online to keep the constructed economy alive.
It fizzles. I don't agree.
I've seen an awful lot of people who couldn't get 4 Ragavans for their Ragavan deck.
The problem is that the secondary market online is most people are using rental services these days. Mm-hmm. So the rental services don't get the cards, and you have I'd say 50% of players who the rental services get them, and then they just have them, and it's not a big deal. But it's the first couple of weeks where people are drafting and people are selling and people are going, but they can also like, they don't have to incentivize drafting. They just have in the chests, which are like their secondary way to put cards into the market. They could just tune up the drop rates of these like newer cards, and that would solve this problem. But the biggest problem isn't the card availability. Like the problem with Magic Online is very fast. It's like the cards are released on a Wednesday, and there's a tournament on Friday that you can play in. And so the rental services struggle to maintain that. And like people they do end up paying a lot of money, but it's like that in paper too, like to get the cards really quick, you know, but they don't really have to incentivize drafting on the platform because drafting on the platform is very unforgiving. And all they have to do is just tweak up the drop rates in the chests, and thousands of chests are open every day. And if you tweak the drop rates, then all the standard card availability issues will go away.
Playing Magic should be fun.
I agree. It resolves. At the competitive level, like the more competitive you get, the more this line gets hazy and it becomes to this like weird hatred relationship with Magic that a lot of people have. But I think it's important. Like I know some friends, I was just listening to their, it's on a Discord call with some friends, and they were very unhappy at the way that a Magic game was going. And a lot of negativity, a lot of bad vibes. And I don't think that's the way that Magic should be. I think it should be fun. I think it should be enjoyable. I love to play it. I think you should be having a good time. But once you get in the competitive thing, there's this very different thing that happens to mindsets of people where they become very like involved in it, and they feel that if like they lose, they're bad. And it's like, no, calm down. I agree Magic should be fun, but some people get a little too serious with it. But for me, have some fun. Have a good time. If it's not fun, don't do it.
Commander will start being a major tournament format in the next 5 years.
It resolves. I mean, I agree with it.
You don't like it, but you think it's gonna happen.
It's not that I don't like it. I love Commander. Everyone play Commander, have fun. You know, there's CEDH and there's Command. You know, there's big differences with power level of your deck. Are you spending thousands to buy, you know, Mana Crypt, Jewel Lotus, blah, 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 blah. You know, those kind of decks, CEDH. The fun stuff, Commander, whatever. The fundamental problem is, in multiplayer, how do you legitimately make it so people don't collude?
This is a five-sided bridge game going on here.
How do you prevent kingmaking? Or this guy, you killed my soul ring, so F you, I'm gonna let this guy win because, you know, like that's part of the game is politics. It's
part of the sport. Yep.
Yeah, it's part of the sport, but how do you make that so it's not like three friends beat up on this guy? And like, how can you do that at a like competitive, you know, like how do you make
You're gonna be stuck in 1v1 and nobody likes that.
Like 1v1 Commander is fine. Play Vintage, be happy. That's basically Vintage. Let's be real. Like there's a large tournament in Los Angeles in the next couple of days where the first prize is a Black Lotus and it's $300 entry fee and it's hardcore CEDH and it's capped at people and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it's like hosted by like Cassius Marsh's game shop or something.
Yeah.
I've only seen little takes about it. I haven't even heard like the details.
Yeah, and it's $300 to enter and the first prize gets a Mox. Like, how do you not just sign up with your friends and be like, all right, let's chop the prizes, you know, work together with the people in your, you know, like how can you, I don't see a way to do that given what I've seen in 1v1 competitive Magic, the sketchy stuff that I've seen in tournaments, like how you can prevent people from colluding. I'd love to see Commander, but like even at Command Fest, they don't give out prizes in the pods. They just be like, okay, here you go.
Good job. Have
you
fun.
guys all have participation trophies. Like, you know, how do you go from participation trophies to making it so two guys don't enter and then beat up on this one and then beat up on I don't know the answer. I'd love to see it. I'd love if it worked that way, but you know, I think the politics of EDH is real, and I don't know how you can have a CEDH tournament without politics.
All right. Well, that's going to be it for the Stack DemonicTutors. Ed, thank you so much for playing. I hope you had a good time. I appreciate getting to hear your opinions, especially all the Modern-related ones, because everybody should listen to you talk about Modern and watch you play Modern. So where can people find you?
On Twitch. I have a YouTube, but mostly Twitch. Just DemonicTutors on Twitch, and I play every weekend to do the challenges at 7 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, which is miserable, but I love playing competitive Magic, so I can play competitive Magic at home, and I don't have to travel, and I don't have to do anything, and I love it. I love Magic Online.
And I love watching you play that Yawgmoth, because wow, there's a lot of them. Well, we'll see you all next time on the Magic Stack. Don't forget, you aren't losing if you're learning. Bye!